Deep in the heart of a lush, green forest, there lay a peaceful pond, sparkling under the golden sunlight. This pond was home to many creatures, but among them was a special one, a wise, old frog named Felix. Felix was not the biggest frog, nor the fastest, but he was known far and wide for his wisdom. Whenever the animals had a problem, they came to him for advice. One bright morning, as Felix sat on his favorite lily pad, enjoying the warmth of the sun, a young rabbit named Ruby rushed to him, her eyes filled with worry. "Felix! Felix! There's trouble in the forest. A terrible storm last night has caused the river to overflow, and now the bridge leading to the meadow is broken. The animals can't cross to find food," she cried. Felix rubbed his chin thoughtfully. He knew that the bridge was the only safe way across, and without it, many animals would go hungry. He had to find a way to help. "Let's go and see it for ourselves," he said. Felix hopped along beside Ruby, and soon they reached the broken bridge. The wooden planks were scattered, and the river was rushing beneath it, too strong for the smaller animals to cross. A crowd had gathered of squirrels, hedgehogs, deer, and even a few birds perched on nearby branches, all looking worried. A large bear named Bruno stepped forward. "I tried to fix the bridge," he grumbled, "but the water is too strong. I can't do it alone." Felix thought for a moment, then he had an idea. "We don't need to rebuild the whole bridge," he said. "We just need to create a safe way across until the river calms down." The animals listened carefully as Felix explained his plan. "The birds can gather strong vines from the trees," he said. "The beavers can cut sturdy logs, and the rabbits and squirrels can tie them together with the vines. Bruno, you and the deer can push the logs into the river to make a floating path." Excited murmurs filled the air. Everyone had a task, and they quickly set to work. The birds flew off to gather vines, while the beavers chewed through thick logs. The rabbits and squirrels worked together, tying the logs securely with the vines, making sure they wouldn't come apart. Bruno and the deer carefully pushed the logs into the river, creating a floating walkway. After hours of hard work, the animals stepped back to admire their creation. The logs were lined up securely, forming a safe and steady crossing. The animals cheered, their worries replaced with joy. Felix smiled. "Now, the smaller animals can cross safely," he said. "And once the river calms down, we can rebuild the bridge properly." The animals eagerly tested the floating path, hopping and walking across with excitement. It worked perfectly. The animals could now reach the meadow and find food without fear. Ruby turned to Felix, her eyes shining. "Felix, you always know what to do. You're the wisest frog in the whole forest." Felix chuckled. "Wisdom isn't about knowing all the answers," he said. "It's about thinking carefully, working together, and never giving up." The animals cheered once more, grateful for Felix's wisdom and teamwork. As the sun set over the forest, the wise frog sat on his lily pad once more, content in knowing that he had helped his friends. And so, the animals learned an important lesson that day: when they worked together and listened to wisdom, there was no challenge they couldn't overcome.